When you think that you know what somebody else thinks emotionally or how they're feeling or what they're believing, and then you base it on fact that you feel it is fact, then you turn around and you ghost that person, you ignore that person, you're passive aggressive with them, all because you've made this thought in your head about this person that is so unreal that you've chosen to act as a leader against them based on something that you created that is a false reality. Now, and I know that's heavy duty. We're going to get into this. But I think a lot of people, especially when it comes to relationships, whether it's business, whether it's personal, whatever it may be, we jump to conclusions, don't we? We're so quick to judge somebody. Maybe we like what they wore. Maybe we like the way they talk. They seem charismatic. Next thing you know, you find out they're a serial killer. Now, that's an exaggeration. I get it. But our beliefs and biases and our judgments, a lot of times, if we jump to a conclusion, they're wrong. It's an assumption that we make that brings about conflict that is unnecessary. And I've seen this happen over and over and over again. A leader becomes super defensive. They have a meeting and then the person kind of comes off a little brash. Maybe they had a bad day. I think we're allowed to have a bad day. How many times, and I love a double standard that leaders have, and we have to watch this very carefully. We're allowed to have a bad day with somebody else and kind of bite their head off a little bit, but no one's ever allowed to do that to us. How do you feel when somebody does it to you and then you're doing it constantly every single day? And if you're making these quick judgment calls on somebody and you're coming up to some conclusion because you feel like you have some special psychic abilities, and I'm exaggerating with that, but that's what it's like. There's no reason or logic or anything in any of that. And I would say, and I know studies have been done on this, that majority of the time, at least 50%, we're wrong because we do not know. I think most disagreements that happen, especially when it comes to work, is someone not understanding or taking the time to understand what the other person said. And I get this, we get emotional, we get in the heat of it, and we need to seek to understand the other person's position instead of jumping to a conclusion, making a judgment, and then telling that other person what to do. It's so important to take the time to make someone feel valued, even if you disagree with them. And I know social media and Fox News and MSNBC and CNN and Twitter and everything else has you all riled up. But at the end of the day, we are here to be peacemakers. We're here to make peace. That's what leaders are supposed to do. Servant leaders make peace. They bring a vision of unity. And the only way that you're going to do that is looking at that person in and of their higher self and understanding, yes, they have flaws. Yes, they have things that may irritate you, but why? And how can you have a conversation with them, not to point those things out, not to create a judgment, not to come in with a bias and say, see, it confirmed what I thought. I heard from this person, and then I brought him in my office, and I basically laid it all out, and so, yep, this is what it is. What does compassion look like with leadership? What does compassion look like? How do you define compassion whenever you're having a confrontation? These faulty presumptions and you thinking that you're a mind reader is going to create a negative impact on your team. It's going to create conflicts in relationships that you have, whether it's at home, whether it's with your friends or family, whoever it may be. You're not a mind reader. And you're not narcissistic enough, I hope not, that you think that you have all the answers. And this is just an 100% responsibility. Let's take 100% responsibility right now and let's solve this. 100% responsibility, I'm going to use myself. Jason, you're jumping to a conclusion. This is what you tend to do, whether positively or negatively. You tend to make a conclusion and move on to the next thing really quick without getting all the information. Gather and collect the data and then make the decision. Don't do it off of some hunch or gut feeling that you have, because 50% of the time it's going to be wrong. So Jason, here's what you're going to do. You're going to take the time to be present, to have a conversation, to be compassionate, to listen, to ask questions, to gain more data and more information. And you're not going to make a conclusion, because all you're there to do is to empower people, to empower them to be their best selves, to show them vision of who they can be mentally, physically, spiritually, and emotionally. You're showing that. You believe in them more than they even believe in themselves. And you demonstrate that every time you have a conversation with an employee, every time you have a conversation with maybe one of your bosses. And I'm not talking about kissing ass and just walking around and being positive and one of those guys. I hate that. It's like, the guy, oh man, you're great. You're awesome. This is the best thing ever. Hey boss, absolutely most amazing boss I ever have. Don't you guys agree? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking the time to get to know someone through coaching, asking the questions, and leading them with compassion. That right there will solve a lot of faulty presumptions. It will keep you from being a mind reader, and guess what's going to happen? It's going to help you in your recruiting process. It's going to help you in your coaching. It's going to cause you to gain a different perspective on people, and you're going to be learning, which is what we always should be doing, is learning. So I encourage you guys, take the time to be cognitive. Take the time to understand where your assumptions are coming from. Give your attention, 100% of it, to the person that you're talking to in the moment. Tell them, I'm here for you. I want to help you. What can I do? Is there anything I can do to empower you? I want you to be the best when you're here, and I want you to be happy that you're working here. How can I make that happen? That right there will create a culture that can stand and go through anything.
Thank you for joining us on the Albuquerque Business Podcast. And thanks to our sponsor, RigbyDigital.com. Make sure to subscribe and share. And go to abqpodcast.com. Get show notes, resources, and links to everything we talked about today to help you navigate your journey as an entrepreneur and business owner.